Alright, so, I was supposed to put this up on Monday, but then I got sick, and I tried to do a little bit of it. I had about a 6-minute video on Monday that I tried to record, but I just was too sick to, talk a lot and whatnot, but honestly, there's not a lot to this episode. I know, we're 2 days late here for the review and whatnot. It's already the middle of the week. It's already going to be, late afternoon by the time I upload this. It's not a bad week because I could probably do this within a couple minutes because basically, I'll just go over the main plot here. We're going to talk about the subplot later on, but I got to talk about one point for the main, or of the subplot for the main plot. But basically, the episode revolves around Don Pink and how he wants to better himself. He wants to get on the level of that he thinks his wife is. He thinks his wife is, this beautiful 10 out of 10, and he sees himself as a 1 out of 10. He doesn't think he deserves her. He thinks that eventually she's going to leave him and whatnot. So he basically tries to figure out, like, how do I better myself, make myself better? And this is where the subplot comes in, which we'll talk about later. But basically, we find out the end of the episode here is these point things. And they're called points in the episode. It's the strangest thing. But essentially, the points he somehow made a wish with the points, which are just not even physical. They're just on a tablet, which Zenkaiger Black has. We don't know why he has that. Again, we'll talk about that later. But he basically, the points, some points get used, and then he starts doing really good with his work, and he starts getting congratulated by his boss, and then eventually, he gets called up by the president and says, "Hey, I want to make you the chief, whatever, the chief executive or what." I don't remember exactly. I think they just said chief, in the show, and so he basically gets promoted, and he gets a boatload of money, and he gets all this perks and whatnot, and he becomes a snotty rich person, or snotty rich man that his wife instantly is just like, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know why you're doing this. I don't know why you changed and whatnot. And essentially they go out to dinner, and to me, I thought she had like a heart attack, but they say in the show, which Don Pink, who's not supposed to find out anything until the end of the episode, but somehow he knows that the points, or that the wish, I should say, I guess not really, he doesn't know the points, but somehow he knew about it. He made a wish, and they affected her, and she basically collapsed. Well, she doesn't collapse because she doesn't fall out of her chair or anything, but she kind of just like slumps over. They rush to the hospital, and that's where the sumo thing, which I talked about last week, which I thought it was going to be more prevalent. But it's basically Don Pink goes to Don Red later in the episode to basically make up and say, hey, like, I'm sorry. Because early on in the episode, he went to the Don Red's workplace and said, you're not as tough as I thought you were. You're not as bright. You're not as smart. You're a weakling compared to me. I thought you were way stronger than me. I don't know why I even looked up to you. And so basically he goes back later on in the episode, and they decide, hey, we're going to do this challenge. You want to prove yourself to me? You want to say you're sorry to me? And Don Pink's like, yeah, I'll challenge you to anything. And so he kind of goes through these scenarios in his mind of, sumo wrestling, like, he's too weak for that. He does arm wrestling in his head. He's too weak for that. He does thumb wrestling, which somehow he gets his arm crushed and he's just flaring on the ground, and it's it was kind of funny just watching that. So then, out of nowhere, the monster of the week, which is a nurse from a hospital, which literally just wants to basically put everyone in the hospital to make sure, or to care for them, essentially, comes out of nowhere. They say, okay, well, winner, whoever defeats the monster here wins the challenge, and blah, blah, blah. And so, I mean, technically, Don Red does do it, but at the very end of the episode, Don Red kind of, he peeks his head in. He doesn't say a word. It's just, he's all thinking in his head. Obviously, the audience can hear him, but You know, obviously the characters can't in the show, but he basically says in his head, like, hey, like, you won, I could never get a girl like her. And, you know, he just kind of lets bygones be bygones and basically just lets them win. So that's basically the plot. It's just trying to, you know, make yourself better, realizing, hey, like, I'm a jerk, I'm stupid for, you know, trying to get all this money, I'm not happy anymore, my wife is sick, and it's basically, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go back to how I want to be. And somehow, again, the points wear off, she gets better, and we don't know, again, we know nothing about these points. Now, this kind of leads right into the subplot, which, before Don Red goes to work, he's at the cafe, which again I've mentioned before, the Zenkaiser's cafe from the, you know, the previous series. But obviously again, and now it's Zenkaiser Black, this alternate Kaito, etc. He runs it now. So he's actually in that shop or in the cafe with Don Yellow and Don Blue, who are, you know, trying to figure out, like, hey, like, why do we have to follow you? Why are you the answers to our problems? Blah blah blah. And Don Red just goes, I don't know, look, you know, you'll figure it out one day. I don't know how to fix your problems. Like, don't look at me. And so he just, again, he goes off to work, which again, he leads into the main plot down the line. But then Blue and Yellow get sucked into, I guess, the prison dimension, I'm going to call it. I don't think there's an actual name for it right now. Talk to the dad, which again, if you don't know, if you have not been keeping up, the dad is Don Red's, well, it's Don Red's dad. I phrased that wrong. It's Don Red's dad. We don't know why he got put in this prison here, but he basically knows everything about, you know, the morphers, the gears. You know, he basically knows everything, the points, which again we'll talk about here in a sec. So they basically kind of go to him. I guess they kind of get dragged to him, essentially. Start asking questions. And then he's just like, yeah, you know, the points, well, you know, they're used to help with wishes, but they have negative effects, which, again, we find out with the main plot is that, you know, the wish was to make Don Pink's self him better, and then the negative effect was his wife. I don't know if it was a heart attack or what, but it basically, it infected her somehow and made her health deteriorate, and that was the negative effect of the point wish. And, you know, that's essentially it, is, you know, Don Red's in only half the episode, but basically, you know, you don't really see Don Black, who is still, again, on the run. He's still a framed fugitive, which, again, we talked about more. He had his own episode last episode. So you don't see him at all. You see, again, Blue and Yellow for 5 minutes of screen time only. And then it's basically Don Pink's show throughout it. And again, you just have the little sprinkle of the subplot in there. So, you know, not a lot to go on with the subplot here with the points. Have the points been used in the prior episodes? We don't know. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. So, again, I don't really have much else to talk about. I mean, the points system, we're just going to have to wait and see. I guess I should mention real quick, and I'll probably put a picture up. Basically, this alternate Kaito has a tablet which shows how many points each, I almost said Ranger, each Sentai member has. And we don't know what Don Pink started out as, but again, I think he has the least. Again, the picture will be up, you'll see, but I believe Don Pink has the least as of right now. And again, we don't know how they get the points. We don't know how they use the points. We don't know how the wishes, you know, we don't know what the like, we don't know a lot. So it's just, we just gotta wait and see. But the main plot overall was just, you know, just love yourself and, you know, don't change for other people. You know, tell them how you feel. Just, if you're feeling like, hey, like, you're out of my league, talk to them. Like, this guy just goes, I mean, again, this is a fictional story, but, you know, he goes out of his way, and he doesn't even know he's using the points. He just knows, like, hey, somehow I affected my wife's health. That's all he knows. So, for now, like the video, share the video around, don't forget to subscribe, and I'm out of here. Peace.